It's a little hard for me to believe that it's October already, but apparently it is, and well, okay, it's not October yet, but it's definitely close enough for me to actually be doing my October setup, which is a little, I don't know, weird to me. Time kind of flew by this year in a weird, somewhat uncomfortable way. Let me know in the comments below if you kind of feel the same. Anyways, let's move on to the setup. And this is going to be my October bullet journaling setup. So I usually do a lot of doodles for these kinds of setups, and this month is no exception. This time I went for a black and white and silver theme, so a very monochromatic color choice, which is a little bit unusual for me because I usually go for more color, but this time I decided to make things a little bit different. And I actually really like how this spread, well, this entire theme actually, as well as the spread, came out. Anyways, I'm starting off with my trusty stencil to write in the name of the month, and I'm actually going to be outlining it in black and coloring it in silver. And this is actually a bit unusual for me because for some reason I don't tend to use silver as much in my bullet journal or any of my other journals really. Anyways, moving on to the more exciting portion of this video, which is the doodles. And the theme for this month is actually going to be magical starry pumpkins. And I really like how these came out. So I started off by just drawing simple pumpkin doodles all over the spread in varying shapes and sizes. And then I moved on to adding a quote to the right side of my spread. And the quote says, "The further we've gotten from the magic and mystery of our own past, the more we've come to need Halloween." And I just thought that this felt very appropriate for, well, Halloween, since it is about Halloween, but it's also about magic and mystery, and it's a little bit melancholy. So I just thought that it fit very well with my theme as well. And I wrote most of the quote in silver and just added a few areas in black, just to make those areas stand out a little bit more. And I thought the important words in the quote were magic, mystery, and Halloween. Other than that, I just added a couple of pumpkin doodles. And now it was time for the fun part, which was filling in the pumpkin doodles with the magical starry pattern. Which I actually really enjoyed doing, and I'm just going to be doing that for a little while. And my final touch for the spread was actually filling in the pumpkin stems in black. I didn't want to fill them in a kind of brown color because, as I said, I wanted to keep the spread monochromatic. And I also added gray to the leaves just because I wanted to keep the pumpkins white but not the leaves, because I felt like that would kind of take away from the pumpkins a little bit. So I made them gray again because I wanted to keep the spread monochromatic. And moving on to the next spread, which is my habit tracker and my mood tracker. And for my mood tracker, I'm actually just doing some more pumpkin doodles, and instead of kind of doing a single doodle for each day of the month, I decided to do a single kind of portion of the pumpkin to represent each day of the month. And I actually already filled in a few areas with that star pattern just because I knew that I wasn't going to be using those because, well, I had enough areas to fill in for my days of the month, and I wanted to decorate the spread a little bit more. Also, there was that one pumpkin where I made a mistake and I wanted to cover it up without kind of using whiteout or having to chop up a piece of the back of my journal to glue that in. And you can see from my legend that I'm actually going to be using different patterns for different moods. As for my habit tracker, I'm as usual using my trusty calendar stamps because they make setting up the spread so easy. And I'm just stamping those in a more uniform pattern. And that is it for the spread, other than kind of filling in the leaves and the stems of the pumpkins. By the way, I will be adding some washi tape to these spreads later, but I just wanted to show you how they look without, just in case you don't like the look of washi tape or, well, you don't have any. And the next spread is my calendar spread, and this is usually the spread where I make a mistake, but I don't think I made one this time, so I'm actually really proud of myself. Yay! And I'm just using my favorite calendar style here as usual, leaving kind of half of the calendar portions open, just because I like the really airy feel that it gives the spread. And I filled in the days in black, again because I wanted to keep things monochromatic. And now I'm just decorating the spread to the right with some more pumpkin doodles, as well as adding them in a few other areas that I thought would be, well, kind of missing them. And of course I filled in the doodles with more of those starry doodles and colored in the stems and the leaves. Other than that, I just wrote the days of the week in silver just to add a little bit of sparkle to the spread. And that is it for that spread. Moving on to my final spread, which is my tasks and review spread. And this one I wrote the headings in silver, just in the middle, because I wanted to keep things simple. And I'm just adding a few pumpkin doodles at the top and the bottom in more kind of random areas just to make the spread a little bit more fun. And of course, filling those in with some more starry doodles for that magical feeling. And that is it for the doodle portion of my setup. And now I'm just going to show you a flip through of all of the spreads as they look like right now. And honestly, I kind of feel like maybe I prefer them without washi tape, but of course I still ended up adding it because if you've seen my other videos, you know that it is my favorite form of stationery. So I had to add it in the end. But I might even prefer the spreads without. And here I am actually starting to add that washi tape. And to keep the monochromatic theme going, I'm just adding some white sparkly washi tape to the bottom of my quote page and some silver sparkly washi tape to the top. And then I'm layering the opposite kind of washi tape on top of that, just to kind of make things a little bit more interesting. And I only added washi tape to that spread because that spread had a little bit of empty space to fill, and the left-hand side of the spread where I wrote October didn't, so I didn't feel the need to add any washi tape there. For my habit tracker and mood tracker spreads, I also didn't add a lot of washi tape, but I added a bunch of washi tape to the bottom of my habit tracker just because that spread felt so kind of empty and plain. As for my mood tracker, I added a few kind of more random pieces here and there just to add a little bit of sparkle to that spread, but I didn't add much because that spread was already kind of filled with doodles. And as for my calendar spread, you'll notice there were a few empty spaces at the top of the spread and at the bottom of the spread, and those areas were just perfect to fill in with some washi tape to fill in that empty space and add a little bit of sparkle there. And for my final spread, my tasks and review spread, I just added a little bit more of those same washi tapes to the right hand side of the spread, and since I added it to the right, I also wanted to add it to the left. And I decided to go for, well, adding it under the title there just because I wanted to make the spread a little bit asymmetrical. And that was it for all of these spreads. We are now up to the final flip through of this setup with the washi tape and all. And I have to say, I'm actually really happy with how all of these spreads came out and with the theme in general. I don't know, I'm kind of proud of it. I think that it's a really cute, magical kind of idea, and I haven't seen anybody do it before. So I really liked it. And I hope that you liked it as much as I did. And if you did, or if you didn't, please leave a comment and tell me about that down below. Other than that, I hope that you are having a good month and that I'll see you in my next video. Be you, always. Bye!